In the darkest corner of the galaxy, beyond known star maps and trade routes, something ancient moved. It did not make noise, did not shine. It drifted, silent and patient, waiting in the void. Then suddenly across deep space, a cry echoed. A transmission, broken and filled with static, escaped from the dying heart of a planet long forgotten. Double quotes, please, please, please help us. We are dying. The voice was weak, alien, scared. Back on Earth, thousands of light years away, the message was picked up by the Deep Space Listening Array in Alaska. The signal arrived in the middle of the night. Technician Sarah Keene, sipping lukewarm coffee, froze as the data streamed in. She played it again and again. The same words, the same fear. Sarah contacted command. Within minutes, military satellites were scanning the stars. Within hours, Earth's top generals were in an emergency meeting. The signal was not a natural sound. It was a distress call, and it wasn't meant for just Earth. It was broadcast across hundreds of systems, on multiple frequencies, an open cry. For help from someone or something in trouble. In a massive black glass tower above Earth's surface, Commander Elias Reyes stood before a 3D hologram of the alien signal. He was tall, sharp-jawed, and cold like iron. Reyes had seen things no human should see. He had led humanity's first war against the Rulak swarm. He had burned a gas moon to stop an invasion. And he had ordered strikes that wiped out entire alien fleets. He trusted one thing. No alien ever asked for help without a reason, and usually that reason was a trap. This could be bait, Reyes said, watching the signal repeat on the screen. But if it's not, then something bad is coming, something even they can't stop. The council room fell silent. Should we answer? Someone asked. Reyes didn't blink. Yes, but not with words. From Earth's orbit, massive warships began to rise like shadows over the planet. The fleet codenamed Spearhead was humanity's strongest force in the stars. 20 destroyers, 10 battlecruisers, 2 DREADNOUGHT and at the front, the flagship Valkyrie. With Reyes on board, each ship had gravity weapons, laser lances, and AI-assisted combat systems, enough firepower to glass a planet. We don't send aid, Reyes said in a fleet-wide transmission. We send strength. If this is a trap, we end it. If not, we find out what the hell is out there. The fleet jumped to light speed. Destination, the edge of the galaxy. Target, origin of the signal. A time to arrival, 18 hours. Meanwhile, inside. One of the ships, young Lieutenant Maya Chen, stared at the stars through the observation window. She was new, green, but she felt the same chill as everyone else. This wasn't a normal mission. No pirates, no rival nations. No routine patrol. They were answering a ghost. I don't like this, she whispered to no one, as the fleet approached the dead sector of space. The stars around them dimmed. Literally, sensors showed light itself. Was being bent, scattered, almost eaten. There's something wrong with this region, said the science officer. It's like... Space here is sick. Then they saw the planet. Once it had been beautiful. Blue oceans, green lands, massive, cities shaped like crystal spirals. Now it was cracked, burned, and covered in black ash, the Viren homeworld, the place the signal came from. But no signal now, just silence. The fleet moved into orbit, drones were launched. Scans came back, strange, no radiation, no life, no active power sources. But something was wrong. Deeply wrong. Surface is dry, said the analysis. Like the entire planet was drained of energy. Like something sucked the life out of it. Reyes gave the order. Ground team, get eyes on the ruins. Troops landed in what looked like a former city. Now it was just broken towers and glass dust. They walked through the remains. The structures were melted, not destroyed by war, but by intense heat or energy. The soldiers found no bodies, no enemies. Only signs of a civilization that had vanished. But then they found something. In the middle of an empty plaza, carved deep into the blackened stone, were words in a strange alien language. One linguist on board translated it slowly. Trusted. You. Reyes watched the message from orbit. His face, always calm, now showed a flicker of doubt. They sent that ... after they called for help. Maya Chen looked confused. Maybe they thought help would come sooner. Reyes didn't answer. He turned to the screen, showing heat readings from the planet. One small red dot blinked alive. A recovery team moved quickly. Inside a half-collapsed temple, beneath layers of dust and stone, they found a survivor. Small, thin, large black eyes. Silver skin, a Viren child. It was crying. They brought the child aboard the Valkyrie. It didn't speak at first, just stared at everyone with fear. A translator chip was placed on its neck. Finally it whispered. You came too late. It followed. The signal. Reyes leaned forward. What followed? The child shook its head. Not ... a thing. Not alive. Not machine. Just ... hunger. It eats stars. It eats life. It came through the dark. Reyes felt the hair on his arms rise. What happened to your people? The child looked at him, and its black eyes filled with tears. We cried for help. But all we did was open a door. Alarms blared suddenly across the Valkyrie. An energy spike had been detected, not from the planet but from behind the fleet. A ripple in space. A shadow that had no form, no visual, said the weapons officer. But it's don't. Big. And it's moving toward us. Reyes stood slowly. Raise shields, he said. All hands to battle stations. Deep space, far beyond normal sensors. Something moved with no shape. No sound. No reason. It had followed the scream now. It had found something new. Humans. The blackness of space had never felt this heavy. Commander Elias Reyes stood at the window of the Valkyrie, staring into the stars. But he wasn't looking at beauty. He was looking for movement. For threats. For shadows. Behind his fleet, something had appeared. No shape, no heat, no signal. Just distortion. Space bent around it like glass under pressure. And it was getting closer. Reyes turned to the bridge crew. All ships, full combat alert. Raise energy shields. Load rail cannons. Lights turned red across the fleet. Sirens pulsed slowly like a heartbeat before a fight. Earth had come to help. Now it looked like they were the ones who needed help. In the lower deck of the Valkyrie, Lieutenant Maya Chen strapped herself into the gunnery seat. Her hands were shaking. Years. She had passed simulations, exams, and battlefield scenarios, but nothing had prepared her for this. What are we even fighting? She asked quietly to her squad mate. Corporal Branson shrugged, loading his pulse rifle. I don't know. The commander looks worried. That's enough for me. On the surface of the dead planet, scanning drones suddenly began losing signal. One by one, they shut off, their feeds turning to static. Then, one final image was transmitted. A ripple in the ground, like something under the surface, waking up. Then, nothing. On board the Valkyrie, the Viren child was kept under observation. The translator chip buzzed as it spoke softly, not taking its eyes off the window. It is here, the child whispered. We screamed, ... and it found us. Reyes entered the room. What is it? A machine? A creature? The child shook its head. It doesn't live. It doesn't think. It only follows pain. Ow. It comes where fear is loud. Reyes narrowed his eyes. So, our warships, our weapons are? Presence made it louder? The child said nothing. But its tears said enough. 3,000 miles above the planet, Earth's warfleet moved into new formation. The Valkyrie stood at the center, flanked by the destroyers Hammerfall and Iron Spear. Behind them, the carrier ships loaded fighters each, one piloted by the best humanity had to offer from afar. It looked like a floating fortress of metal and death, and yet something unseen moved through it like wind. The first sign came quietly, a small maintenance shuttle, floating near the Valkyrie, suddenly changed course. No commands. No human on board. The engines flickered, then vanished in a flash of blue light. It crashed into the ardent flame. one of the destroyers. Shields held, but the explosion left a scar on the ship's hull. Sabotage, someone shouted on the bridge. No, it's not ours anymore, Reyes said. It took the shuttle. Then came the whispers, voices over the radio, familiar voices, crew members, officers. Some of them were dead, the communications deck filled with screams and static. Captain, is that you? We hear something. No, it's not. Then silence. All radio went dark. The AI systems across the fleet began to fail. Autopilot disengaged. Weapon systems glitched. Lights flickered. The artificial intelligence aboard Hammerfall started repeating one phrase over and over. I see it, I see it, I see it. Then it shut down completely. Reyes gave the order. Disable all non-essential AI. Manual control only. Go dark. Lights across the fleet dimmed. Bridges were lit only by emergency. Glow. Pilots switched to analog. Officers used printed maps. Earth's most advanced fleet had just gone old school, and yet it wasn't enough. Inside the Valkyrie, a scream echoed through Deck 3. A security officer found Lieutenant Darnell, one of Reyes' tactical advisors, standing alone in the hallway, staring into a mirror. Sir, the guard asked. Darnell didn't move. His reflection didn't match. The real Darnell blinked. The reflection smiled. Seconds later, Mimic attacked. Reyes arrived to see blood on the walls. Darnell was dead, but so was the Mimic, shot 17 times. Its body already melting into black smoke. It's copying us, Reyes said. It's inside now. He turned to the security team. Full lockdown. Every crew member gets scanned. If someone acts strange, they're not who you think they are. In the med bay, Maya Chen sat beside the Viren child, watching the door nervously. You knew this would happen, didn't you? She asked. The child looked away. We sent the signal. We were desperate. We thought someone might still help us. Maya leaned in. You were wrong? The child nodded. No, we were just too late. In the war room, Reyes met with his senior officers by candlelight. The eye offline, they used paper, pens, and their minds. We are facing a non-physical enemy, Reyes said. It feeds on systems. Fear, thought, it can't be destroyed like a ship or a fleet. So, what do we do? Someone asked. Reyes pointed to the map. We finish what we started. We go to the source of the signal deep in the planet's core. That's where it entered. And if we wake it up? Maya asked. Reyes didn't look at her, simply said, then we show it what humans are made of. Hours later, a small strike team was sent to the planet's surface, deep into a black canyon. At the bottom was an ancient tower, half buried, humming with low, strange energy. The signal had been sent from here, inside. The walls were covered in markings, Viren language mixed with strange patterns no one could understand. Symbols that looked like eyes, always watching. Back on the Valkyrie, the child began screaming, No, you must not go there. That place, it's not for you. But the team was already inside. They reached a central chamber where a pulsating device sat in silence. A giant sphere, cold, black, smooth. The moment they touched it, it lit up, and above them, a message appeared, floating in the air, written in Viren and English. We cried for help, but you were never meant to answer. Above the planet, Reyes stared into the dark. Behind the fleet, the stars began to disappear one by one, like something huge was blocking them. Commander, said Maya quietly. I think it's here. Reyes gave a final order. All ships, prepare for war. The enemy had arrived, and this time it wasn't just alien, it was something far worse. The storm had no sound, no wind, no light, but it moved. Across the stars behind Earth's fleet, darkness spread like ink in water. Stars blinked out, space twisted, and something vast approached, unseen but deeply felt. Commander Reyes stood on the Valkyrie's bridge. His hands were behind his back, his jaw locked tight. Report, he said. No reading, sir, Maya replied. Nothing we can see or track. But the temperature across the fleet just dropped 10 degrees. Reyes narrowed his eyes. In space? That's impossible. She looked back at him, her face pale. Then something impossible is here. Down on the ruined surface of the Viren homeworld, the strike team moved deeper into the planet's crust. They had found the source of the signal, a massive underground tower made of dark stone, glass and metal, but now their coms were silent. No voices, no noise, only static. Lieutenant Carabel, leading the surface team, held up a portable scanner. I've never seen this before. This isn't just old tech, it's dead tech. As if someone turned it off forever. The tower pulsed once slowly. Faint light flowed across alien symbols on the walls. Looked like language, but the translator failed to read it. The only word that showed up was memory. Back on the Valkyrie, the Viren child lay still in the medbay. His eyes stared up at the ceiling, unblinking. Suddenly, he sat up straight. It's awake, he said. Maya turned sharply. What's awake? The child whispered. The tower remembers. And now it remembers you. Inside the underground chamber, Kara found a large circular room filled with statues. Hundreds of them. Tall, thin, eyes wide open, arms reaching upward. At first she thought they were carved stone, then she realized they were real Viren, frozen. Turned to ash and stone. Murdered, her sergeant asked. No, she said slowly. They were ... taken. A strange noise echoed in the chamber low, like a breath, but no wind. Then the lights flickered. Their helmets began to hum with static. We need to move, Kara ordered. Ow. But the doors behind them slowly began to close without any sound. On the surface above, Reyes had just landed with a secondary team. He wasn't waiting anymore. Something's hunting my soldiers, he said. I'm not sitting in orbit while it picks them off. As Reyes stepped onto the burned soil, he looked at the broken sky above. Clouds black, moving unnaturally, swirled in the air. It looked like the planet itself was waking up. Inside the tower, Kara's team reached a second room. This one was circular, with an open floor revealing a deep pit below. At the center hovered a glowing sphere. Unlike the first device, this one was alive. It spun slowly. And around it were holographic images, flickering, fragmented cities burning, Viren screaming. A giant shape in the sky, Kara stared. They recorded it.
In the last moments of their
world. Suddenly, the room darkened. The sphere turned black. Then one image lit up in the air, Earth. The planet, the blue marble. Spinning slowly, and next to it, a shadow, taller than Earth, featureless. Shifting the message underneath read. Followed us. On board the Valkyrie, alarm screamed again. All systems offline. Backup power failing, shouted the engineer. Maya ran to the window and froze. Out in the blackness, a shape moved. Not a ship. Not a creature, a hole, a tear in space itself. It's here, she whispered. Reyes reached Kara's team just as they were pulling data from the sphere. Did you find anything? She looked at him, pale. It knew we would come. It left these for us. For us? For humans? Reyes frowned. Why? Kara's voice dropped to a whisper. Because it feeds on response. On fear, on action. It sends the scream. And whoever answers ... leads it to more life. The Viren child spoke through. The Valkyrie's intercom connected from medbay. You were not the first to hear the signal, he said. Others heard it too, but they ignored it. They lived. Reyes spoke back. The child closed his eyes. Because we were dying, we wanted someone to remember us. Suddenly, power surged through the tower. Lights glowed red. The symbols on the walls changed. One word now glowed in every direction. Prepare. Begin. Orbit. The shadow moved through the fleet. One ship, the horizon blade, went silent. No explosion. No damage. Just silence. When a recon drone scanned it, it showed the crew still in place, but not moving, not breathing, eyes wide open, as if they were listening to something. Only they could hear. Reyes, now on the surface, turned to Kara. "We can't win a fight we don't understand." "We're not here to fight," she said. "We're here to warn." "Warn who?" She looked up at the sky. Earth. Maya, watching the scene unfold from orbit, opened a secure channel. "Commander, if we don't leave now, we may not get another chance." Reyes paused. Then he gave the order. "Prepare for immediate retreat. Get everyone off this planet." As the team rushed back toward the landing zone, the ground shook. A loud sound boomed across the ruins. Not a voice, not thunder.
Something.
Older. A feeling entered their minds. Not words. Just pressure. A thought not their own. You came to save. Now you will stay. As the dropships lifted off, Reyes looked. Down one last time, the tower was collapsing. Not from damage. It was sinking. Back into the planet, as if it had shown what it wanted. Oh, and now it was hiding again. Back on the Valkyrie, Reyes stood before the bridge crew. He looked tired, angry, but focused. "This was never about saving the Viren," he said. "It was about drawing us in, luring us." "Luring who?" someone asked. Reyes looked out at the stars, now dimming again. "It doesn't matter. It has us now." Maya stood beside him. "Sir." What do we do?" Reyes clenched his fist. "We do what humans always do. We fight." The stars were gone. From the bridge of the Valkyrie, it looked like the galaxy had simply shut off its lights. One moment, the fleet hovered in open space above the ruined Viren planet. The next, they were surrounded by a thick, swallowing black. But it wasn't just darkness. It was something alive. Commander Reyes stood silent, arms crossed, watching the screen as sensor data failed to load. "There's no interference," Maya said quietly. "But we can't see beyond 10 kilometers. It's like the darkness is eating light itself." Reyes didn't answer right away. His mind was racing, thinking, calculating. "We came here ready for war," he said. "But we brought the wrong weapons." On board the Hammerfall, Captain Arlen paced his deck nervously. His crew watched every console, every blinking light, waiting for anything to move. Then a soft voice came through the comms. "Captain ... Do you read me?" "What a WASN?" Captain Arlen leaned in. "Commander." Voice replied, "I'm inside. Let me in. We have to talk." Arlen looked at his communications officer. "Is that secure?" The officer shook her head. "Sir. ... Commander Reyes hasn't transmitted anything." The voice spoke again, but this time it came from inside the ship's speakers. "I said let me in." Back on the Valkyrie, Reyes received a sudden call. Hammerfall was gone. Not destroyed, not attacked, just ... silent. Every life form vanished in seconds. No alerts. No damage. The last image they sent showed the hallway of their ship filled with shadows shaped like people. But moving the wrong way, Reyes gathered the top officers. "This enemy doesn't use weapons. It doesn't crash through walls. It doesn't talk. It becomes us." He pointed to a hologram of the fleet. "We are the infection vector now. The more we search, the more we speak, the more it learns." Maya stepped forward. "So it copies us?" Reyes nodded. "It's not just copies. It studies. It mimics fear. It makes you see what you're most afraid of." In the medbay, the Viren child clutched his knees in the corner. Maya sat beside him softly. "We need your help. You know what it is?" The child looked up slowly. "We called it the Shade," he whispered. "Not a being, not a god, not a demon, just ... absence. Like a hole in space where thought goes to die." Maya frowned. "How did it destroy your people?" "It made us see our memories, our pain, our guilt. Then it became that pain, and it fed." He looked at her directly. "You brought warships. You brought weapons. But what it wants is your minds." On the Valkyrie, reports flooded in. One crew member had shot his best friend thinking he was a mimic. Another saw her dead brother walking the hallway. A third locked himself in an escape pod, screaming, It's inside me. Something was happening. Something far worse than bullets or bombs. Reyes gathered the full fleet over secure line. This is a psychological war now. Do not trust your senses. If someone acts strange, isolate them. If you hear a voice you know is not them, keep it. Your mind's clear. But deep down, he knew it was already too late for some. Down in the engineering deck, Maya and the child reviewed the data recovered from the Viren tower. It followed the signal, Maya whispered. That means it heard us. Across light years, the child nodded. It doesn't travel through space like ships. It travels through pain, emotion, thought. Maya looked at the growing list of dead ships. So when we answered your call, it used us. Meanwhile, Reyes entered a sealed chamber on board the Valkyrie. No electronics, just metal and silence. He sat alone and waited. Then something strange happened. The door behind him creaked open. He hadn't ordered it. He hadn't heard footsteps. But when he turned, a young girl stood there, blonde hair, soft face, barefoot. She looked at him and said, "Hi, Daddy." Reyes froze. His daughter had died 10 years ago. Outside the chamber, alarms flared. Maya raced to the security deck. "Commander Reyes is locked inside," the guard said. Something triggered a mental lockdown. "May not let us in." Maya leaned into the mic. "Commander, can you hear me?" Inside the chamber, Reyes stood still, tears in his eyes. The girl walked closer. "Don't you miss me, Dad?" He shook his head. "You're not her." She tilted her head, smiling strangely. "But I could be." Suddenly her skin rippled, turning black. Her eyes stretched. Her mouth widened too far, and she whispered, "You made me real." Reyes slammed his hand on the emergency override. Gas filled the chamber. Lights went red. The mimics screamed, flailing and shifting shape into soldiers. Old enemies, even Reyes himself. He watched it dissolve in the gas, silent and shivering. It didn't fight back. It didn't need to. It had already. Touched his mind. Later, Reyes met Maya and the Viren child in the med bay. "We're done chasing ghosts," Reyes said. "This thing is learning faster than we can react," Maya asked. "Can it be killed?" The child answered slowly. "Not like a living thing, but it feeds on signals, noise, energy, thought. You must starve it." Reyes blinked. "You mean cut off the fleet? Disconnect?" The child nodded. "Yes. Darken the fleet. Kill every system. Shut down the lights." Maya whispered, "Go completely blind." Reyes stood before the fleet once more. "This is your final order," he said. "We are going dark. No lights. No comms.
Ow.
No AI. We will fly blind through the void. Those who survive will regroup at Soul Point 9. Those who don't. Thank you for your courage." He looked into the camera. "And if the enemy is watching, know this. Humanity is not made of steel. We are made of fire." One by one, the ships began shutting down. Dark, silent, hidden. The stars flickered back slowly, and the enemy. It vanished. Into the shadows. But as the Valkyrie drifted in silence, alone in the dark, a whisper echoed through the empty halls. "We're not done yet." The fleet was silent. The warships floated through space like dead whales, powered down, lights off, weapons cold. Engines drifted. Comms were dark. Even the air inside felt still, as if time itself was holding its breath. This was humanity's most powerful fleet, now hiding in complete silence. Commander Reyes stood on the bridge of the Valkyrie, lit only by the glow of emergency lamps. Every main system was shut off. Only the most basic life support remained online. Across the ship, people whispered instead of speaking. No music, no broadcasts, no lights through windows. Nothing the enemy could hear, because somewhere out there in the dark, it was still listening. But darkness was not safety. On the destroyer, Iron Spear, something had changed. Crew members were vanishing, not all at once. One by one, and in their place, were copies. Perfect copies. Except for the eyes. They never blinked inside the Valkyrie. Lieutenant Maya Chen moved through the ship with a team of security officers. Their job now was simple. Check every room, every person, every shadow. We're not just fighting something outside anymore, she said. It's already inside us. They reached the lower deck. There was movement. A crew member named Sergeant Holloway was sitting in a dark hallway, humming softly. "Sergeant," Maya called out. He turned, smiling. "I heard them singing," he said. Maya's eyes narrowed. "Who?" He pointed to the wall. "They sound like me now." Then he stood on. His face began to melt. Back on the bridge, Reyes received the report. Iron spears lost. Internal life signs. Multiple readings in the same body. They're mimics. Reyes clenched his fists. It's not waiting anymore. It's starting the war. He activated the emergency command code. New orders. Clean every ship. Room by room. No more hiding. We take back our fleet. They called it the Mimic War. It lasted just 6 hours. But in those 6 hours, over 300 crew members were killed or turned. The mimics weren't strong, but they were fast, silent, and smart. They didn't attack directly. They whispered. Right. Lured. They tricked one mimic, pretended to be a wounded medic. Another took the shape of a missing officer and walked calmly into engineering before blowing the coolant systems. One even made it to the Valkyrie's command deck it spoke with. Rhea's voice. "You're already losing," it said. "You brought me home." Rhea shot it, point blank in the head. But something had changed. For the first time, the mimics were dying before. They vanished into smoke. Now, their bodies remained, black, oily, and twitching. Maya ran scans. There. Losing strength, she said. Shutting down the fleet worked. They're feeding less, getting weaker. Reyes nodded. But then we finish this now. Deep in the Viren data logs, they had found coordinates in ancient structure. Farther out, in the galaxy, kind of prison, the Viren had once tried to trap the Shade there. Before it escaped, the files called it only one name. The Vault of Echoes. Reyes pointed to the map. We go there, land it where they tried. The fleet, what was left of it, came back online briefly, just enough to plot a course. 7 ships. Remained. From 20-2, their lights turned on one final time. Then they jumped, straight into the unknown. When they arrived, space around them was strange. The stars here were twisted, spiraled like water being pulled down a drain. They moved slower. Or maybe faster. No one could tell. And in the center of it all, floating above a dead moon, was the vault. It was shaped like a cube, but wrong. Its edges bent, its corners stretched and shimmered. Light didn't reflect off it, just vanished, even looking at. It made crew members feel sick, Maya whispered. That's not a building. That's a ... wound. The Viren child, now awake and speaking clearly, joined them on the bridge. This is where we held it, he said. Before we made the mistake, Reyes turned to him. What mistake? We tried to study it. The child's eyes darkened. But it studied us back. Reyes gave the order. Land a team. We go inside. We finish this. They entered the vault with 24 soldiers. Maya was at Reyes' side. The child stayed aboard the Valkyrie watching inside the vault. There was no sound. Their boots didn't echo. Their words didn't carry. Even the lights from their helmets seemed to disappear after a few feet. The halls were endless. The walls, covered in marks like scratches, claws, handprints, and then voices. Not from speakers. From inside their own minds. I'm still here, it said. You brought me this far. Now let me in. One soldier collapsed, screaming. Another fired his weapon at a wall, believing it was an enemy. Maya pulled Reyes aside. It's trying to divide us. But Reyes stayed calm. He held a small device, a pulse detonator, built for non-physical threats. We plant this at the vault's heart, he said. We shut it forever. They reached the center. A giant chamber, pulsing with darkness, and in the middle, a mirror, but not a reflection. The mirror showed them Reyes. Maya, the soldiers but twisted, crying, dying, those are not us. Reyes growled. They're what it wants us to become. He slammed the detonator into the ground. Not today. Suddenly the vault trembled. Walls cracked. Black mist poured from every crack. The shades screamed not with sound, but through the air, the light. Their minds, it showed them earth burning, families screaming, ships falling. Reyes closed his eyes, then punched the trigger from orbit. The Valkyrie's crew saw the vault collapse in on itself, imploding silently. Then light, bright, golden, peaceful. The mist was gone. The darkness lifted. The stars came back. Reyes and Maya returned to the bridge, battered but alive. The child smiled. "You did it," he said. Reyes looked out at space. For now, but as the Valkyrie turned for home, far beyond, in a distant galaxy, a satellite picked up something, a whisper, a signal, crying again. The war was over, at least that's what they thought. The vault of echoes had collapsed, the shade was gone. The darkness that hunted thought and copied fear had been destroyed. The stars were visible again. The cold in space had lifted. Earth's fleet, what remained of it, was heading home. Commander Reyes sat in silence on the bridge of the Valkyrie, watching the stars pass by. Beside him, Maya Chen looked out too. Double quotes feels. "Quiet," she said. Reyes nodded. Maybe too quiet, on board the science deck. Engineers examined the recovered data from the vault. Readings were strange, unstable, as if something had been erased but not completely. Lieutenant Harlow, ship's data analyst, frowned at the screen. "There's a pulse in here," he said. "Not a signal, not sound, just dot." A beat. Maya leaned over his shoulder. A heartbeat. He shook his head. A memory. 3 days passed, then it happened. A deep space observatory near Saturn received a transmission. Weak, broken, full of static, but not random. It was a voice. "I'm still here." And then silence. On the Valkyrie, Reyes reviewed the transmission. It had no source, no origin point. It had arrived like a whisper riding on the edge of gravity. "It could be a ghost," Maya said. Reyes stared at the signal. Or something. Worse. They called Earth. The signal had appeared on 4 more stations, and each time it sounded more ... human. In the medbay, the Viren child sat up. Eyes wide. "You didn't kill it," he said softly. "You only woke it." Maya knelt beside him. The vault collapsed. "We saw it happen." The child shook his head. "The vault was not a prison. It was a mirror. It showed what already exists." Reyes entered the room. "Then what did we destroy?" "Duh." Child looked him in the eyes, only its shadow. Far across the galaxy, in the wreckage of the ship Iron Spear, something flickered. A spark. A pulse of thought. One of the mimic bodies twitched, then sat up. It looked human. Its skin was torn. Its eyes were wrung. But it smiled, because it remembered, and it knew where to go next. On Earth, scientists detected another anomaly at first. They thought it was just deep space radiation. But then the pattern repeated, like Morse. Code, like language. The signal was evolving. Reyes stared at the updated scan. "This isn't an echo," he said. "It's a response." Maya frowned. "Response to what?" Reyes looked at her grimly. "To us." In a secure briefing room, Reyes spoke to Earth's military command through a live feed. "There's no invasion, no fleet, no ships. We're already under attack." "How?" asked the general. Reyes answered calmly. "Through memory, through thought, through fear." The general shook his head. "You're asking us to fight a ghost." Reyes replied. "No. I'm asking you to stop listening." Back on the Valkyrie, strange things began happening again. Voices in the hallways. Reflections in mirrors that didn't match. Maya found her old locker open with a note inside. "We're not done." No one had put it there. The fleet tried jamming all transmissions. It muted systems, cut long-range comms, but it didn't work. The signal wasn't coming from space anymore. It was coming from inside. People started dreaming the same things. black walls, twisting corridors, a voice without a mouth whispers saying, "Come back." Reyes called an emergency meeting. "This thing is not out there anymore. It's part of us." Maya asked, "What does it want?" The Viren child answered softly, "Remembrance. Doesn't feed on destruction. It feeds on attention. The more you fear it, the more you speak about it, the stronger it becomes." Reyes looked around the room. "Then we forget it." The plan was radical. Every record of the mission deleted, every image of the vault erased. The Viren child was moved to a secret location. No data would be sent back to Earth. No names, no logs, no heroes. It would be like the mission never happened. Maya stood in front of a memory erasure terminal. A cold, sterile machine that could wipe selective parts of a person's past. Reyes stood beside her. "You don't have to do this," he said. Maya looked at him. "If we don't, it might come back." He nodded. "Then we both do it." By one, crew members chose to forget. Some resisted, some cried, but most agreed. They had seen something too big, too dangerous if remembering kept it alive. Then forgetting was the only way to kill it. Before the memory wipe, Reyes recorded one final message, locked away in a black box, buried deep inside the Valkyrie. "If you are hearing this," his voice said, "then we failed. You brought back something that feeds on fear, that grows in memory, that waits in silence. Do not speak of it. Do not search for it. Do not try to help." Iran cried for help. And we answered with warships. But war was never the answer. 1 week later, the Valkyrie returned to Earth. No record of where they had gone, no data from the mission, just silence. Humanity moved on. The galaxy turned. The stars blinked. And somewhere, far away, something listened. Something waited. A whisper in the void. "Someone will remember me." 3 years had passed. Earth moved on. No one spoke of the Viren. No one remembered the vault. The records were erased, the data destroyed, and the crew of the Valkyrie was scattered, reassigned, or retired. The mission had never existed, but someone remembered in a quiet lab beneath the sands of New Arizona. A young researcher named Dr. Alina Kale uncovered something strange. A satellite log, corrupted, buried in a forgotten relay tower scheduled for demolition. Inside, a 5-second sound. Clip, static, then a whisper. "I'm still here." Alina didn't understand what she had found, so she ran the signal through decryption software. Then she posted about it, It's a short message on a private science forum. Anyone seen this repeating? Signal? It sounds almost human. Half a galaxy away, the Valkyrie was now a training vessel, stripped of most advanced systems. Commander Reyes had disappeared from public life. But when the message appeared, buried deep in Earth's secure net, an alert triggered in a hidden program, the black box had opened. Only one word displayed: remembered. Reyes was living off-grid in a sealed mountain station. He hadn't spoken to anyone in 2 years until now. His cum lit up with a single anonymous message. They heard it again. He froze. He knew what it meant. He turned on his old command console. The coordinates flashed. New Arizona. Site C-12. Reyes stood up, grabbed his sidearm, and whispered to himself, "It begins again." Meanwhile, in her lab, Dr. Alina stared at the signal. She had heard it again, louder this time. Not just from her speakers, from her dreams. Shadows and mirrors, voices calling her name, flickers in the corner of her vision. And always the same message: "You found me. Now bring them." That night, Reyes arrived in New Arizona. He found Elena's lab abandoned. The windows shattered from the inside. He stepped carefully through broken glass. Gun drawn. The monitors were still running. The signal was now a full sentence: "I remember what you did." Then something moved behind him. He turned, but there was nothing. Only shadows. Reyes called. Maya, she was the only one who still remembered. Now working in deep space salvage, Maya hadn't seen Reyes in years. But when his face appeared on her screen, she went cold. "You saw the signal again?" she said. He nodded. And this time, it came back smarter. Together, they found Alina. She was in a hospital alive, but unstable. Her eyes stared at the ceiling. She didn't blink. She whispered the same sentence again and again. The mirror never broke. Reyes leaned close. What mirror, Alina? Her voice changed. It wasn't hers anymore. You buried me. Dot. But someone always remembers. In Earth's orbit, strange things began happening. Satellites stopped responding, a new research vessel. The Kepler Nova drifted off course during a routine mission near Mars. Its crew reported seeing shapes inside their own systems, visual glitches, showing themselves, talking. One message appeared on every console. We have your shape now. Maya decoded the new signal Alina had posted. It wasn't just a memory replay. It was a map, a guide, leading to a second vault. Not built by the VIR, and built by someone else, someone older. Reyes and Maya made a choice. One last mission, they gathered. The remaining officers from the Valkyrie Kruthos, who hadn't forgotten. Those who still had scars from what they saw. A small team, no backup, no public. Knowledge, just silence. The coordinates led to a dark sector on the edge of known space. No stars, no records. Just a black zone in every galactic map at the center. Found it, a giant sphere. Like a planet made of mirrors, it reflected the fleet. But the fleet looked wrong. The ships in the reflection were broken, burning, bleeding, as if the sphere showed what could be, or what already had been. They landed the sphere. Wasn't solid. It opened like a flower, letting them in. Maya whispered, "It's not a vault, it's a stage." Inside, there were halls filled with voices, their own voices. Arguments they once had, pain they once felt, memories they thought were buried. One hallway played back Rhea's final message, the black box warning, over and over, "I told you not to come back," his own voice said. Then they saw her. Alina, standing inside the vault. Alive, smiling. Double quotes. "You helped me remember," she said. Reyes raised his weapon. "You're not Alina." She tilted her head. "No, I'm you." Her body rippled, then took Rhea's form. Then, both at once. The team opened fire. The figure shattered like glass, but there was no body. It's just black mist. But the vault had learned something. It no longer needed to chase. It could wait and let curiosity bring people to it. Reyes planted explosives. This time, we erase everything. No memory, no records, no names. We go in, we end it, and we do not return. Maya stared at the center of the vault, a black core, pulsing. She whispered, "We'll die here, won't we?" Reyes looked at her. "If we succeed, no one will even remember we did." They reached the core. It was a simple machine, a transmitter not built to contain, built to call, to invite, and someone had always been answering. Reyes activated the final device, a total memory scrambler, a system that wouldn't just erase the vault, it would erase the idea of the vault. Wipe it from all minds, systems, and records. But they'd be inside when it happened. Maya placed her hand on the control. Together, they pressed it. The vault shook. The reflection cracked. The voices screamed, and then silenced on Earth. A scientist walked into a lab and stared at a blacked-out computer. She blinked. What was I doing again? She didn't remember. Outside, stars twinkled, peaceful, as if nothing had ever happened. Somewhere, deep in the void, ... a whisper faded, a thought unraveled, and the last shadow said, "Forgotten." The sky was quiet. Earth spun peacefully beneath. Soft clouds. Cities buzzed, children laughed. Satellites drifted in perfect orbit. No one remembered what had been lost. And that was the point. The records were gone. The missions erased. The names dashed forgotten. No one spoke of vaults, or mimics, or whispers in the dark. Because to speak them, was to bring them back. But far from Earth, at the edge of a forgotten sector, something still lingered. A broken starship. No lights. No engines. Just drifting. The last remains of the Valkyrie. Its hull was cracked. its systems burned out. Inside, silence. No crew, only memories. Trapped in metal, in a private home in Alaska, an old man sat on a wooden porch, staring up at the stars. He didn't remember why. His name was Jonas Reyes. But even that felt like someone else's. Every night he looked to the sky, not with wonder, but with a faint fear he couldn't explain. Sometimes he dreamed of voices, a girl calling daddy, a boy whispering it remembers. But in the morning it was gone, just dreams. That's what he told himself. Across the ocean, in a small rescue base on Mars, Maya Chen ran emergency drills for trainees. She was calm, quiet, distant. One night, alone in her quarters, she found an old, cracked pendant in her drawer. She didn't recognize it, but it felt familiar. She almost threw it away. But something made her keep it, in a science university on Titan. A curious young student named Alina Kale studied wave patterns in deep space. She had never been in space, never joined the fleet, never heard of the vault. But sometimes, when she stopped, looked at the stars too long, she felt like they were watching her back. One evening, her instruments picked up a tiny pulse, just static, then a whisper. Maya, ... She blinked. The sound was gone, but the computer saved a name, Valkyrie. Back on Earth, a child was born with a strange memory. He drew pictures he'd never seen before. Black halls, mirror rooms, faceless people. His parents laughed. Imagination, they said. They named him Reyes. He never cried at night, but sometimes, he whispered in his sleep. We chose silence. Somewhere in deep space, a hidden AI core blinked awake. It had no power, no crew, no orders. But it remembered one voice, a man saying, if you were hearing this, then we failed. Then it played a file no one knew existed. The final words of the Valkyrie crew? Words meant to be erased, but some memories never truly die. The recording, to whoever finds this, know this. We gave everything to stop it. Not with weapons, not with fire, but with silence. We chose to forget. We saved you. This is Commander Reyes. If we are never remembered, let that be our legacy. We were the shadows between the stars. We were the ones who chose silence. End of transmission, back on Earth. Life continued. The skies stayed quiet. No signals, no vaults, no enemy. Just stars, endless, beautiful, and silent.